What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now Plus. I'm Alex, and in this video, we got to talk about Sega, and we got to talk about this idea that they might be learning from mistakes that they've been doing for 30 plus years. Now, I will say something, okay? This is Sega, and this is their own statements, and obviously they are pretty big culprits of it. But at the same time, you could probably stretch this and to say, is this an issue kind of across the board? Okay, so what is it? Well, coming from IGN, Sega suggests expectations for definitive editions could be behind disappointing launch sales. Now, to jump to the end of this, they don't say a game or franchise that they're talking about specifically. They're not saying like, oh, well, this game didn't do so well, it must be because of this. Okay, so they're not isolating a specific game or franchise. And then also, they're not saying definitively that this is what caused it. This is something that could cause it. And they're like actively monitoring the situation, basically, is what they say. Like, they're looking at a couple different things. They kind of want more research on it to figure it out. Is it all that difficult? No. Is it something that they're probably honestly right on? Yeah, I think they are. So what it boils down to, they say Sega says a number of elements could be contributing to disappointing returns, including a competition from other releases within the same genre, as well as launch prices, right? So there's two other potential ideas. The gaming publisher also suggested gamers could be passing on purchasing games at launch due to an expectation they will eventually be able to purchase definitive editions of these same titles further down the line. And of course, they say Sega is no stranger to the idea, especially when it comes to, Atlas, pretty much, Persona, Shin Megami, etc. And that's the long and short of it, honestly, in terms of my analysis of it. No, they're probably right. They're probably right. I think we've had different eras of this is also something I will say. It's not to like say, oh, they have no, they're not to blame. You would think back, or at least I would think back to kind of Game of the Year editions. You remember that? Back kind of in the PS3 360 era, I think is when they really started to kick off. You'd have all these DLCs. There's been some good like passes, season passes. There's been some terrible ones. But, games will get stuffed with all this stuff. There'll be various pricing, and then they'll get a Game of the Year edition. If you can wait that out and you get the Game of the Year edition, and you wait for the Game of the Year edition to be on sale, you're getting that base game with all the DLC. Really what gaming does do, I would say quite often, and it's not just Sega, is punish those that get the game right away. You need those people. By the way, I'm not saying like, hey, don't wait out for sales, or like if you do wait out for sales, you should be the one punished. No, ultimately there's probably an okay balance. But we've had things like Ubisoft. Ubisoft will sometimes release a game. Assassin's Creed historically has done this back in the day. They would release an AC game around October. If you waited 1 month, you'd be able to get that thing for almost half off. In that way, you really are punishing those that get it first, right? Because you're saying, well, thank you to our loyal, diehard customers, but here's a sale 4 weeks later for Black Friday, so now you can get it at half price, and screw all of you that just bought it day one. So what I'm saying is we have seen different iterations of this. Something like what they say, specifically, does that hurt? I think it hurts in the volume and the amount that they do it, or I guess the length of time. Because there are many games that have done remasters and remakes 5, 10, 15, 20 years after the game comes out. And, I think depending on the time, it works rather well. But they're right. I mean, you think about Personas or Shin Megami, like you wait 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. Yeah, it depends, based off the game. But you will get that game and then significantly more. It's almost a new game, but it's really not. And you're getting it just a couple years after that base game. So now you as a consumer knows, all right, when Persona 6 comes out, give it a year and a half. Sometimes, by the way, you can give it within that calendar year, within a 12-month period. But give it, say, a year, give it a year and a half or 2 years. And we'll get the game again. We'll get the game with 30 extra hours, and then you kind of wait for that to drop in price, and then you can just get that, right? And you really are in that way punishing. And what they're doing is they're just trying to double dip. It's not like they're coming at it from some moral high ground. They're just trying to get you to buy it twice. The diehards, they're trying to get the diehards to just do it 2 different times. They're saying, well, they'll do it. They'll do it. They'll buy it 2 different times. And then the people that are not diehards, they'll wait for the second one. And that's true. And what ends up happening, though, is many people are not diehards and they'll skip out on the first. Does that happen? Yeah, it happens. I would say Square Enix, I would say, is a pretty big culprit of collections. I've made fun of Kingdom Hearts. And Kingdom Hearts is one of my favorite franchises, period, okay? I say it with a lot of love for everybody involved. But there's like 15 Kingdom Hearts collections, and I own shockingly too many of them, okay? But there's a lot of them. And again, you are asking people to double and triple and quadruple dip. That's what you're doing. You're asking them of that. Or you're asking people just skip out, and that's the other side is, okay, well, you're either asking people to double dip as diehard consumers, which isn't very nice of you, or you're not asking people to do that, in which case you're kind of making people choose, right? You're saying, all right, well, we're not asking you to buy 3 different versions. We're just asking you to buy one. All right, well, now it falls on us to figure out which one we want. And are you going to pick that first one when you know that the second one is going to be the same price a couple years down the line, but with added content? You'll just skip the first one, right? So they do it to themselves. And again, I don't think they come at it from like the most morally high ground possible. So yeah, that's pretty much it. It's not, Sega needs to learn, and they've been doing it forever. But everybody, again, we had Game of the Year editions that did it, battle passes and all, or season passes, things like that. That's always kind of been a culprit of this. Remastering games too quickly. Sony has probably been a pretty big culprit of that one, right? Remastering The Last of Us, or Last of Us Part 2, I guess is probably the worst example, right? Doing that, Horizon, doing a remake of Horizon, like, these are things that probably don't do as well as you want it to do. And it's like, I think they would do better if you just waited. Time is an ally. Time is, give a game an extra 3 years, because that separation of time maybe will make people buy both. Just because naturally you buy one, you say, okay, it's been 7 years, I'll buy it again because now it's new content. But 2 or 3 years, that's for people that have ADHD minds, which is most of us, they can still remember that, But give them 5, 6, 7 years, yeah, they'd, I think, be more willing to do both, to buy the first one. You're also adding more value to the first one, right? It's almost an exclusive type thing. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.